The Girls Club, 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 The Girls Club. It's my club and I'm a girl, yeah.
Hello, and welcome back to the Girls Club. I'm your president, Emily, not to be confused with the new president of our country, Annoying Orange from YouTube 2010s era. Remember that? That shit was annoying. Like a certain someone I know who is also orange with a toupee. Yeah. So how's everybody doing? Wow. Yesterday was the presidential inauguration as of me recording this. Meaning today is Tuesday, the 21st, and holy shit, wow, yesterday was crazy. I mean, I didn't think it was gonna be good, but I was not prepared for how bad it truly was. There's somebody like yelling outside my window right now. Girl, is you good? I think she's fine. I don't know. It stopped. I think it's fine. It sounded like people were talking or she was like yelling at her dog or something. I don't know. Anyways, bitch, can you shut the fuck up? I'm trying to record a podcast here. It seems like nobody wants me to record my podcast these days. The universe be like, don't record that podcast. The universe be like, your internet footprint is forever, you know? The thing is, like, everything I've ever said, I don't remember, but everything I've ever said is probably on the right side of history. So, like, I don't give a fuck. Leave that shit up. I'm glad the internet lasts forever. Speaking of internet not lasting forever, there was a TikTok ban that happened over the weekend. You guys, the amount of people who are crashing out over the TikTok ban, I'm like, yes, I hear you. I feel you. I see you. You are. I am you. But at the same time, the amount of influencers who just confess to just straight up lying to their audiences, I'm like, did y'all really not think this shit was going to come the fuck back? That's how I know that they're not tapped into like the political state of America, because I could see it coming from a mile away that they were going to use Trump as like the hero of the youth and bring TikTok back and save TikTok. Thank you, President Donald Trump. I knew they were going to pull that shit. Are you kidding me? I didn't think that they were going to do it in 14 hours. At least give it till Monday. But they said, fuck no, we're bringing that shit back right the fuck now. And I think that was because genuinely, like, they saw how negatively the TikTok ban was received by literally everybody, like regardless of party. That they were like, oh fuck, we can't really shut this down for too long. Also, it probably would have like really crashed out the American economy if I'm being quite real. Like, oh my gosh. So yeah, TikTok was banned for like 14 hours. And when I tell you, like, I am fucking addicted to that app, like, it's no fucking joke. The amount of times I just like thoughtlessly just opened it back up and tried to use it after it was banned and like forgot that it was banned, but it was like it was like my body just did it. Like my body just opened my phone and went to TikTok. Like it was like compulsory. I couldn't help it. I tried to scroll YouTube Shorts. You guys, YouTube Shorts, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is YouTube Shorts? I was on YouTube Shorts for like, that in between time because I'm like a fiend. I need my fix. I needed my fix of mindless scrolling. I'm like, how else am I supposed to function if I can't mindlessly scroll in the morning or when I'm taking a shit or when I'm bored and watching television and I'm not really paying attention? Like, what else am I to do? What is a girl to do? And I'm sure as fuck not going on IG Reels. The only thing I see on IG Reels is people fucking dying in like fucking stupid prank videos or videos from TikTok from like 4 years ago or like weird compilation videos or recipes. It's just fucking weird over there. But YouTube Shorts, you guys, I don't know what because my YouTube algorithm, I'm going to be honest, is like really good. Like for the suggested videos that I get, like I would say probably 80% of them are something that is like relevant to either something I've searched or like to the other creators that I follow. So I'm like, okay, like they clearly understand my interests and stuff on my YouTube algorithm. But YouTube short algorithm, what the fuck was that? It was all like weird clips from interviews from like the 90s of like Eminem. Like weirdly so much Eminem content, and they all had like weird like AI generated like captions and like weird edits on them. And then it was also like behind the scenes of like how songs were made. It was just so, it was all music stuff. Like literally all of it was music stuff. Or there was a few like movie things with like actors doing interviews, but there was like not a single video of just somebody talking to the camera or a single just like funny-ish video. It was so strange. It was just all recycled old footage of like Eminem. Like I learned about this whole beef between Christina Aguilera and Eminem and like all this shit that like I did not even know about, because Eminem's kind of like I didn't really ever listen to Eminem. I mean, I know my brother did, both of my brothers actually, but like I never really got into Eminem very much. So I don't know, I learned a lot that I really did not care about. But yeah, YouTube Shorts was like horrendous. And so when TikTok came back, I was like, yes. And everybody's like, thank you, Trump. Thank you, Trump. Trump, you can suck my fucking cock. I don't give a fuck. You're the reason we're in this mess in the fucking first place. Just like everything else happening in this fucking country that seems to be for shit is a result of Donald Trump enacting something and like the domino effect of that. And so him being like, I'm saving TikTok, and then that fucking propaganda ass crazy sentiment that they put at the beginning when you logged back into TikTok and it was like live again, and they were like, thank you for President Trump for working with us, and we're gonna work together to figure this thing out. I'm like, ew, this feels fucking bad. I don't know, this feels ominous as shit. So yeah, you don't get a fucking like high five because you're the person who put us in this fucking situation to begin with. Like, let's not forget that little piece of the puzzle here. It's like when you break something and then you fix it, you don't get rewarded for fixing it. Like you're the one who broke it in the first place. Like that's the least you could fucking do. Hello? So yeah, the TikTok ban was crazy. The influencers confessing to lying about a bunch of shit was also crazy because, I don't know, the parasocial relationship that people have with their audience and their viewers is already something that is, you know, I talked about this last week of like, at the very least, like you need to be a trustworthy person because your audience only gets like so much of you. Like it's only a taste of who you are. So at the very least you owe them to be honest. If you're not going to give them all of who you are, which you shouldn't, like you should always keep things to yourself and for yourself and whatever. But at the same time, it's like you should still be honest about everything because it's only going to be better for you in the end and then be better for the people. And it will help, you know, create an audience that like appreciates and, you know, upholds integrity, honesty, morals, ethics, what have you. So to have all these influencers just like be like, oh, there's one more thing I need to tell you before we all die. Like all my workout videos were fake. I really hated doing them. I didn't do them. I actually didn't eat all the food in these mukbangs, even though I said I did for 4 fucking years. I didn't actually buy that product, or I didn't actually find that product. I bought it beforehand, or I didn't, like, all these things. I'm like, yo, bad idea. And was it worth that stupid viral video? Because now y'all weren't even gone 14 hours, then you're coming back and you're just like, ooh, okay, well, guess I have to fix that. Like, you dug yourself a fucking hole with that one. Like, if you're gonna lie, if you're gonna be a shitty fucking person and lie, commit to the fucking bit. Because also at the end of the day, like, if you built your career on being an influencer or whatever, chances are you probably don't have like a traditional 9-to-5 job to fall back on. So I'm assuming you're going to continue to create content. Am I wrong? And so what? Now you're just going to be deemed a liar and you expect your audience to just like continue to expect truth out of you when they know you're a liar. Like it was a bad move. It was stupid. It was so stupid. All for like what, one viral video? I don't know. People are fucking idiots. That's what I've learned the most out of being on social media, and also just like during this whole debacle of Donald Trump's second term, is that so many people are just actually so fucking stupid, and it is shocking. It's genuinely shocking. Like I talked about it in the episode where Trump won the election, just being like kind of baffled that happened, and then also having to come to terms with the fact that, like, you know, these people don't live in a bubble. Like me and you live in the bubble of people like having brain cells, it seems. So yeah, it is sad. It's very sad, and it's also very just like eye-opening as to the reality that is America, and like a lot of things make a lot more sense when you realize that the majority of people in this country are dumb and are not willing to learn. You know, I'm not faulting people for being like uneducated or whatever, because like, of course, with the country that we live in, education is a privilege. It's something that has also been historically disproportionate depending on the geographic area that you live in. Like, you know, in the South, it's more likely that test scores are going to be worse and all of these things. And you can look all the way back to the foundation of America for the reason of that happening, because, you know, when we had the Civil War and the Confederate States wanting to, you know, continue with slavery, and the government not funding places in the South because there was more Black students who went to these schools, and like it all roots back in racism and shit. Like, and that's why I do have a lot of, you know, forgiveness and also like empathy for people in the South, because I think a lot of people who come from the North or come from, I don't know, like the West Coast or whatever, don't understand that like it's institutional issues with our education system in the South specifically. Like these schools are in the United States are unanimously like underfunded and whatever. But when you come to the South, like you realize like how bad it really is, and the disparity between private education and public education when it comes to areas that are predominantly like minorities and non-white areas. Like these schools are so severely underfunded, and it all roots back to racism and the mistreatment of Black people, and not wanting, like our country not wanting, or A, not valuing Black people, and B, not wanting them to have education and access to education. It's really upsetting and it's sad. And that's why I also do have like a lot of empathy towards people in the South, because like our education system has failed us. And if you are not able to access like a better education or college or whatever because of money, like the public education system is not good. Like it is not good. And yeah, I also think the influence of religion in the South is just different than in the North. Like, you know, there are private schools that are either Christian or Catholic or whatever that have religious things in them. But even public schools in the South like have weird religious undertones and stuff that's not very separation of church and state, if you know what I'm saying. And so that gets involved in the conversation a lot, which can also, you know, skew people's knowledge on certain things, because, you know, they kind of like move past things quickly because they deem it as like not appropriate or whatever according to the Bible or what have you. And so a lot of things get left out of the public education. So all that to say, I think the South gets a bad reputation for people just being dumb and whatever, but you can't fault the people of the South for that. It's like you got to look at the bigger picture and go back to the reasoning behind that. And it's because of institutional racist issues that have literally been there since the founding of our country, you know? And it all goes back to white supremacy and the Confederate era. Like, it's as fucked up as that is, like that's the truth. And yeah, I think people who don't come from the South or who are from the North or the like West Coast or whatever, they like, I don't know, they like think everybody here are these like redneck hicks who, you know, are racist and are whatever. And like, yes, of course that exists, but it's like not everybody here is like that. And also the people who aren't like that have like really put effort into unlearning, or, you know, their families have had to, you know, teach them all of that shit, because like it's easy to not think that way when you grow up in an area that is, you know, a blue state, a blue city. You've never like seen these issues and whatever, and the result of, you know, red state propaganda and conversation and legislation. And so to like not be like that in areas where that is the majority, like you have to care a lot, and you should care a lot, but a lot of times it's hard for people to understand like that's wrong, because it's like how they grew up. And not saying that, oh, it's hard that people, you know, people have to learn not to be racist. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying more in terms of like political ideology. When that's all you've ever known, and that's what your parents tell you, and that's what your grandparents tell you, and that's what your cousins and your brothers and your sisters or whatever, and all your friends think that way, it's easy to get caught in that, which I think could be the same for people who are raised in a blue state and are liberal and they have liberal parents and whatever. It's like, that must be a blessing. You know, you don't have to be the crazy person at the dinner who is like, everybody thinks is insane and an idiot and has sheep mentality or whatever. And like, when you're in the South, like, you are the minority when it comes to political ideology. And so it does take a lot of fucking effort, and it does take a lot of, you know, self-education, and you have to constantly be seeking information, because that's just not what you're going to be taught or told, or is really going to be the political discourse that is surrounding you when it comes to your geographic area. So that's all I wanted to say on that. Not necessarily talking about like really moral things. I'm talking more of like strictly what you align with politically. I think people in the Northeast and the West Coast and whatever, and don't really give people in the South enough credit for getting out of that group think, because it is very easy to fall into that. Speaking of crazy right-wing conservative freaks, Elon Musk, Elon Musk at the inauguration was actually like stressing me the fuck out. Not only was that hoe like tripping off ketamine, like he had to be rolling on something. I'm guessing it was ketamine because he's talked about using ketamine in the past. And I'm also assuming it was paired with cocaine or some shit to keep him from falling the fuck asleep. But the way his eyes were like rolling in the back of his head, I'll try to find the clip and add it to the YouTube video, because like this was insane. Like this man was clearly high on something the whole time. He couldn't spit out what the fuck he was trying to say when he was giving his little speech. And like what's so crazy is like conservatives give like Joe Biden so much shit for stuttering and whatever, and then Elon Musk gets up there and like bro can't even do a full sentence. He sounded like he was going through a system update. Like, oh my god, his Neuralink was getting a message and it was like altering his thought process, and the two could not coexist. And like the motherboard was like, hello Elon, hello, and he's like like it was giving that. And yeah, bro was tripping off K, and you know, he was like bouncing off the walls like he just snorted some cocaine. And then he decided to do the Nazi salute. Yeah. And not once but twice. That man went up there, slapped his chest, and shot his hand out to the to the crowd and did it 2 times. That was actually insane. It's like we all knew that these people were like white supremacists, like crazy people, especially Elon Musk, somebody who literally grew up in apartheid in South Africa and, you know, has like fucking 17 kids with like 10 different women and they're all white. And his whole thing is like, we need to have more kids. We need to have more kids. But it's like, who do you want to have more kids? And what is the reason? You know? So like I was not shocked that he is a white supremacist. No. I'm shocked that he did that at the presidential podium during the inauguration on live television. He said, apparently I never been on live television before. And just fucking whole ass Nazi salute. And you know it was bad when Fox News cut away at that part. And they only showed it when he was doing it to the back. He does one to the front of the audience, right? He like does it to the front of the audience and then he turns around and he does it to the back. They cut out the front part and they only showed the back because it wasn't as obvious from the back. It was obvious as fuck, but like it wasn't like you couldn't see the position of his hand, I guess, as much. And so like that's when you know like that's exactly what the fuck that was, because if news stations are cutting it the fuck out, that's when you know it's bad. And also like some people are being like, it's the Roman salute. The Roman salute? Girl, fucking Google that, because I did. Because I was like, what the fuck is the Roman salute? All of these fucking Elon Musk dick riders in the comments were like, it's the Roman salute. He's not doing the Sig Heil. It's the Roman salute. Let me tell you what the Roman salute is. Roman salute, also known as the fascist salute, is a gesture in which the right arm is fully extended, facing forward with palm down and fingers touching. In some versions, the arm is raised upward at an angle. In others, it's held out parallel to the ground. In contemporary times, the former commonly considered is a symbol of fascism. According to an apocryphal legend, the fascist gesture was based on customary greeting in which allegedly used in ancient Rome. However, no Roman text describes such gesture, and the Roman works of art that displayed the salutational gesture bear little resemblance to the modern so-called Roman salute. Like, that bitch was just doing a Sig Heil, which is crazy. But like at the same time, it's like, it's not shocking. And that is what you should be terrified for. I am so sick of people like defending this like outwardly obvious and evident like white supremacist behavior and being and like trying to downplay it as like, you know, oh, that's not what you guys are so crazy. Like you're trying to make everybody into Hitler. Like that's not what this is. Like, oh my God, you guys are so dramatic, like whatever. But I'm like, this is how this shit starts. This is how this shit starts. You take away women's rights. You take away abortions. You get rid of basic human rights. You get rid of shit that like people have come to know as like illicit freedoms in this country. You do all of that. And then you start making comments about, you know, how you're going to take over countries, how you're going to change the names of countries in order to be more American. You're going to do all of these things. It's like, we've seen this story before. We've seen this story before. Remember Poland? Remember what Hitler wanted to do with Poland? It's just like, it's crazy. And it's exhausting to have to explain to people who are honestly at this point, like you have to go out of your way to not see the signs. And it's exhausting to have to explain to these people like why this is going to ultimately be very bad and why this is going down a road that like I don't know how we recover from as a country, if I'm being quite honest. Especially with all of these like immigration laws and I mean he wrote an executive order to get rid of birthright citizenship, which is something that is in the Constitution. You can't just do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like certain things that he's like written in these executive orders and whatever. I'm like, go directly against the Constitution, which at this point, I'm like, what the fuck is the point of the Constitution? If that's the basis of which we, have all of our governance of our country written upon, right? And a president just comes in and just says, not anymore, and just does an executive order to abolish something that is like a human right in the Constitution. I don't understand what the point of the Constitution is. Like, I'm sure there is going to be pushback, obviously, at like legislation levels with this type of stuff. But when, that party is the majority force in the representatives of our country too, it's just terrifying. Like, it's so fucking scary. When he made the comment about genders and being like, and we're going back to only having 2 genders, and there's only 2 genders and all this shit, and it's like this war on like trans people is also insane, because like it's like 1% of Americans are trans, and like all anybody wants is fucking affordable housing, affordable healthcare, and cheaper groceries. And the only thing you've done so far is free the January 6th terrorists from their fucking storming of the Capitol and their charges that they had, which that is crazy, because that right there is proof that he incited all of that. That right there, him writing and doing presidential pardons for all of the January 6th conspirators and the people who stormed the Capitol, that right there is proof that he is the reason for all of that, which we all know it was, but he's denied it to this day. I didn't tell him to do that. I didn't say, no, I didn't. He's like, he's never taken accountability for a single thing in his fucking life. But that right there is proof that that was his fault. Because why else would he pardon them? It's like, it's almost like you told them to do it. That pissed me the fuck off. Also, what a slap in the face to all the people who were fucking injured at that, and who were, traumatized, and who, have their families are being like harassed by these crazy ass fucks. And like now all of these crazy fucking people who are willing to storm one of the most like supposedly like secure places in the country, they're willing to do that. Like, I don't want these fuckers walking amongst us, that to me is terrifying. But I guess when you have a 34 count convicted felon running the country, what the fuck else are you going to expect but for him to free all of these other fucking criminals? Let's be honest. Dude is operating a villain. Like, Donald Trump is the definition of like super villain, and all of his little buddies are also super villains. Like, they make up the, like, what in SpongeBob, it's like the dirty bubble, what it was is like the band of super villains or whatever, or Lemon, the League of Evil something. Oh my God. That episode where they're like Lemon, and it's like the evil people, and that's when Barnacle Boy joins them and like becomes evil or whatever. That is literally what the American government has become. And look, this is coming from somebody who I've never been very much pro-government, because our government is corrupt and fucked up. And that's the issue. It's like, I would be pro-government if the government had ever done anything good ever. And not to say that they haven't done anything good, but the majority of the shit that they do is not in favor of the people who are affected by the things that they put into place. You know what I'm saying? The fact that Donald Trump's inauguration was on Martin Luther King Jr. Day is actually, like, that right there is proof that we are a nation of white supremacy. That right there is just, it's so fucked up and backwards, and it does not make any sense to me and to millions of other people. It's crazy. Also, the fact that like Obama was booed, and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton and all of these Democratic people were booed at Trump's inauguration. Like, what is this? Booing people is crazy. Like, this is not a sports event. Like, these are like government representatives of our nation. And this audience, he's like fostered this audience of people who are just full of rage and hate and lack decorum so much and lack any sort of like self-respecting characteristics that they are just nasty, nasty people. You're booing former presidents and you're booing former vice presidents and vice presidents. Like, what are you doing? That is so embarrassing. Like, get a fucking life, get a fucking hobby. Oh my God. It's just so, it's sad. Existing as a woman in this time is heartbreaking. It's so sad. Existing as somebody who's part of the LGBTQ community, I can't imagine how you're feeling right now. When our president is actively trying to, diminish your existence and your rights to just living out a fucking normal life. Like, I don't understand. I mean, I can't imagine being a person of color. I can't imagine being a black person. Like, I literally can't imagine being an immigrant, a child of an immigrant. Like, at this point, it's just fucking doomsday for everybody besides straight white men. Like, it's terrifying. And like, I'm at this point where it's like, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, like everything's fucked, like we're all screwed person, but like, I genuinely I don't know how to look at the positives of anything, because the issue was like, with a revolution, and in order for all of that to happen, like, people have to fucking get the fuck up. And I just don't foresee that happening in waves strong enough to like really do anything, because also these billionaires have our attention with things like social media. Like, as great as social media is for like creating community and bringing people together, it also is such a hindrance of like real change happening, because people feel as if they're doing enough by like acting in, internet spaces and like, donating and doing all these things, which also, like, that's all great and all, but it's not going to do anything. How many petitions have you signed? How many dollars have you donated? How many congressmen have you called? How many, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how many things have you done, and how much change has happened? None. No change has happened. So that's the issue with social media, is like, it creates this false sense of empowerment and movement with revolution, because it immediately gratifies you of doing something. Like, you've done something by signing up to this newsletter, you've done something by donating to this, you've done something. But the reality is, nothing is happening. Nothing is being accomplished, because our voices aren't weighing in on anything. Like, it doesn't matter. And the people who are running these platforms that we all use are like, that's why technology has become what it's become, because it's addictive. It's like, not only do these entities and whatever want to control your life outside of, your phone. They want to control, what you see on TV. They want to control, how much you pay for your clothes, where you buy your clothes from, your job, how much money from your job gets taken in for taxes, what that tax dollar gets to do. They want to control like your access to like public spaces. And that's why like there's not a lot of parks, and like the roads are shit and all this stuff. And not only do they want to control all that, it's like, we want to control your free time as well, on your phone, on your Netflix, on your whatever. Like, and that's just making them more money. And it's also making us more numb and having a sense of escape that is actually like kind of counterproductive, because it's not doing what we want it to do. And as unfortunate as that sounds, because I believe in creating community online, I believe in the importance of it, it also is a hindrance, I feel like, to real actual change happening, because like, you don't feel the need to like get off your ass and like go do anything. Because also, we're all tired because we've done that. We all did the Black Lives Matter rallies. We all did the, Roe v. Wade being overturned, abortion rallies. We all did the women's marches. We all did the protests for assault weapons and school shootings and the walkouts and the whatever. We've done it all, and it's not done fucking shit. And so that's why I think it's just we all just feel like hopeless right now. And I don't know. I don't want this to be like doomsday, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know what to say to make things better. And I don't know what to say in terms of like giving hope for the future, because I genuinely, like, truly, I don't know what to do. I do not know what to do that is actually going to make a difference. I think there's a lot of people that could benefit from maybe like a fist to the mouth. I think there's quite a few people who are in charge of our country right now that would, benefit from maybe getting beat the fuck up. I genuinely believe that. But I don't know how that's going to make that big of a difference either. I mean, we saw what happened with Luigi, and like, yeah, that was great, except it just was like a meme. Like, it honestly turned into like a TikTok fucking trend, and then it just went the fuck away. So I don't know what you do. It's just frustrating because it's like the whole reason a democracy exists is to give power back to the people, right? And we have government officials that, we feel like, okay, well, we elected these people and they represent us and X, Y, and Z and whatever. But because it's not a true democracy, because it's a fucking boys club that operates on whoever has the most fucking money, whoever has the most connections to the wealthy, it's just not a true democracy. And also the fact that it's a two-party system where it's like, well, okay, we have one option or the other. It creates this divide amongst people, and people are so busy fighting with each other that we're not even like given a second to really think about like the ramifications of these political candidates. It's like, it's just frustrating. I don't know what to do. I genuinely don't know what to do. So I was really living though for that senator who wore shorts and a sweatshirt to the inauguration. I think his name, he's like a Pennsylvania senator. Hold on, let me look him up. John Fetterman wore shorts and a hoodie to Trump's inauguration. I'm just living for that because honestly, like, that's what I would do too. It's like, oh, I have to fucking be here. Okay. And I was obsessed with AOC, just like being like, I'm not going. I don't celebrate fucking rapists. Like, the fuck? I'm going to sit my ass at home. Actually, I think she was like participating in a march or something. I don't know. I do love her just being on like IG Reels, her millennial ass on IG Reels, like posting all the time, just like exposing, the what have yous of the current state of American democracy. And I did live for when her and Tim Waltz did like the Twitch streaming when they would play video games. That was so funny. But yeah, I don't know, guys. Like, I'm just really like, girl, like, I don't know what the fuck to think about anything. America's cooked. And I do fear this might be the season, the final season of America these next 4 years. Before we become fucking North Korea or Russia or China. It's that's what's so funny about all of this is like, this conservative propaganda uses countries like China and Russia and North Korea as like scary places we don't want to be like, but not because of, anything that like people would actually like not benefit from, like, you can't access the internet freely, which like you're trying to already do. So the fuck, information isn't accessible, and like you can't, I don't know, whatever, dictatorship or communism. But also it's like there's a lot of things that we would benefit from doing in a more socialist way. It's just funny that they compare, like they always make this negative connotation to like China and Russia, North Korea, whatever. But it's like in reality, it's like, what are y'all trying to do? Because to me, it's looking like oligarchy and fascism. So, I mean, I would take communism over that any fucking day. Like, at least in those countries, people can afford to fucking live and have better opportunity to like not die because they're so hungry and don't have access to healthcare and shit, you know? So, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. But yeah, I don't know, guys. I'm not gonna talk much longer on this one because I genuinely just like, I feel like I'm in a very negative headspace right now, and I don't want this to be completely just negative, but also I feel like it's necessary to have this conversation and to be open and honest and to say that, A, this is a safe space for anybody who feels like, you know, who feels the way that I feel, who feels like, oh my God, I like, what the fuck is going on? Everything's crazy, whatever. I want you guys to know that I'm going to make sure that this is a safe space for people who think that way. And I will make sure to, if there are any comments that are crazy psychotic freaks who somehow find this, as they always do, I'll definitely make sure to block those people and to delete those comments and whatever, because I don't need that negativity over here. And that's not what the girls club is the fuck about. It's the girls club. It's not the fucking billionaire boys club, you know? But yeah, I did do a check-in with you guys today on the Instagram. So I do a lot of like questions and shit over on the Instagram. So if you want to participate and you want to have your voice be heard, go over to thegirlsclub.pod on Instagram. That's where I post stories and you guys can interact over there. You can DM me. My line is always open. I don't always get notifications on that account for some reason. So if you DM me and I don't see it and don't respond like within a day or two, I'm so sorry. Sometimes I just don't get the notification and it gets stuck in message request, which is weird because also it's not a private account. So I'm not sure what's going on over there, but I try to respond to all of the messages. And yeah, so today on the story I said, how are we all doing after yesterday? Because I just want to check in. I want to make sure that everybody's okay. Yeah, so here we go. Currently reading nonstop on my Kindle to distract myself. That's good. I feel like I'm kind of doing the same with, you know, actually I made this. I was like needing some sort of distraction from all the bullshit. And I was like, I had this sweatshirt that my friend had gotten me a couple years ago, and it's honestly like I dried it too high of a setting and it shrunk, and so it just doesn't fit me the way that like I like sweatshirt. Like I like my sweatshirts to be fairly oversized, and it was not like that anymore. And so I was like, well, I don't want to get rid of this because I really liked it, but I was like, I can't wear this anymore. So I was like, what if I turn this into a pillow? Because I had a bunch of leftover polyfill, and my roommate had like a little like hotel sew kit. So I borrowed it and I literally hand sewed it and I made it into a pillow. Here it is. I did that to distract myself. It's very bad because I don't know how to sew. I just kind of like guessed, and this is what we came up with. But I made this little pillow. It's so cute. A little one piece Don Quixote do Flamingo pillow. Yeah, so I definitely understand with the distraction thing. Next person said concerningly bad. Girl, same. Like, I feel like we all, and if you aren't doing concerningly bad, it will hit you soon. I know it will. You might be in the state of like disassociation or like, you know, none of this is real yet, but it will hit, and don't worry because we will be here for you. Unwell, I need you to debrief ASAP, girl. Well, don't worry because this whole fucking episode was a long ass fucking think piece on my disdain towards the American government. So hope you liked it. This person said feeling scared, depressed, and overthinky. I totally feel that. It is scary and it's depressing and it's so easy to overthink because like I feel like me as well as like people I know, like we're all in this space right now where we're just like, okay, if this happens, like how much worse can it get? And then we start spiraling and whatever. I feel like what's important now is to just like, if you get in those moments, which I definitely do, is to just like take a step back and like put your phone down. Like as stupid as this sounds, like literally put your phone down and like just be like, okay, like I'm good right now. Because like, yes, all these things will affect our day-to-day lives. Of course they will. But at the same time, it is easy to spiral and crash out when you see it talked so excessively on the internet. So if you need to take a moment, read a book, watch a show. That's why I escape to like non-Western media all the time, because I just have to get the fuck away from it all. Like, that's why I got into anime, because of fucking Donald Trump, his first presidency. Genuinely, that is what turned me on to anime, because I was like, I need to get away from this freak. I need to get away from the American government. I need to like get away from politics. I need to like take a break. And yeah, so foreign media is a great escape from that, because like there's always like media that like references things like what's happening right now, because of course like art is pulled a lot from real life things and vice versa. So like there's definitely some of that, but at the same time, like you can very much like escape Western like topics and things when you go to foreign media. So yeah, maybe check that out. But Elon has me fucked up. What the fuck is happening? Yeah, I agree, girl. That like Nazi salute was crazy. It was crazy. But anyways, guys, I think I'm gonna call it here for the episode. Ended a bit early. Yeah, today was just crazy. I want to say things will get better, but I also don't want to leave you guys with false hope. But in terms of us, I feel like, you know, let it out, have your cry, you know, be sad, be whatever, but also like stand 10 toes down on what you believe in, and don't stop, you know, fighting for what's right. Don't stop speaking out about what's wrong. Stand up for the people that you love, and take care of the people in your community, the people who are going to be directly affected by a lot of this legislation, and take care of each other. And that's all we can really do, I guess, for the future. So anyways, I love you guys so much, and I will see you in next week's club meeting. Bye.
The Girls Club, 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 the Girls Club. It's my club and I'm a girl, yeah.